Hey, just Jay here, and it's day 28 of the Bearded Brace phase. So this is something that I've thought a lot about over the years. Often people get these things confused, and I just wanted to get this video out there to clear up any confusion. The topic for today is the differences between androids, cyborgs, robots, and humans. This is 100% fact. First, let's talk about humans. You have two humans that create another human. It's pretty simple. I think we all know what a human is. Although it does get a little muddy when we start talking about clones and other things like that. Is that a human? For this video, we'll just keep it simple. Humans are born from other humans. That's it. That's what a human is. Then you've got robots. Robots are generally an electric thing. I suppose we could incorporate steampunk into the robot category. So a robot is a machine that has some sort of interaction with the physical world. There's a type of robot that takes on a human form, and that is called an android. An android was never a human and always a robot. Even if it gets skin and by appearance completely looks human, it's still an android if it was created as a robot. Androids are robots, but not all robots are androids. Kind of like a square is a rectangle, but not all rectangles are squares. Then we have cyborgs. Cyborgs are humans that end up having robotic parts placed into them. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Star Wars yet, then that's your fault. In Star Wars, Luke Skywalker gets his arm cut off and then gets a robotic arm put on. In my humble opinion, Luke Skywalker is now, to a degree, a cyborg. I have a scar right here and I've got like metal plates and screws in my arm. I don't consider myself a cyborg though. A cyborg is a human that has robotic parts added to them. The metal plates and screws in my arm, I don't classify as a robotic part. If we go to an even further extreme example, you look at RoboCop. In RoboCop, his body was completely destroyed and replaced by robotic parts. But he was still a human born of other humans, although a higher percentage of his physical body is now robotic. So a cyborg is a human with robot parts added. So with these definitions, you could have an android that appears to be completely human and a cyborg that appears to be almost completely robotic, but yet the android, in my opinion, is less human than the cyborg. In fact, the android is not human at all, while the cyborg is still human. It's just human 2.0. So all cyborgs are humans, but not all humans are cyborgs. I often ask myself, is there a point where a cyborg crosses over and becomes an android, or even becomes a robot? By appearance standards, it looks completely robotic, but the brain and some of the other attributes of it are human in origin. Is there this crossover point, or is there a crossover point when an android becomes a human? If I were to replace my head with a computer that could stimulate all the synapses and move my body around, is that a cyborg or is that an android? Is the only thing that ties a cyborg to humanity the consciousness of human? And is the only thing that keeps an android from becoming human is its lack of human consciousness? At what point do we call artificial intelligence consciousness? Can an android ever become a human? I don't think it can. Even if it has a semblance of consciousness, it's an android consciousness and not a human consciousness. But I also don't think that my body, with a computer controlling it, is a cyborg. For whatever reason, this head and my consciousness is what I feel brings us humanity. Or instead of consciousness, you think of it as soul. Maybe it's contained in here or all over me. I don't know. But consciousness is definitely a real thing, and in my opinion, the thing that makes us human. Some people may argue that consciousness is just an organic machine, as opposed to a computer consciousness made up of circuits and microchips. Both are using electrical impulses, but I think that there's something fundamentally different between the human consciousness and artificial intelligence consciousness. You may have a different opinion, but that's mine. So quick recap, humans made from other humans. Cyborg, once was human, has robot parts added. Android, robot that takes on human form, but at its core is still robot. And robot, machine designed to interact with the environment around it. I'm really glad I got this off my chest and made this video, because this is something that's so important for everybody to understand. And I hope someday that I become an awesome cyborg and you don't forget that I still have humanity. As always, hope this wasn't horrible. This is one of the weirder things that you'll see on my vlog. Two women flat ironing my beard.